The cosmos is heating up with Sun and Mars entering Sagittarius. So here's what you need to know so that you don't get burned by this week's fiery astrology. Hi, my name is Comet and welcome to Just Your Magic Monday, particularly your Magic Monday astrological forecast for the week of November 20th to November 26th, 2023, where we are discussing, just as we do every single week here in my cosmic corner of the internet with a cosmic beverage in hand, what is ahead for your week ahead, how you will feel the planetary influences and shifts as part of your daily reality. Furthermore, how you can co-create with this astrology by leaning into the planetary shifts and influences in order to navigate your universe with maximum magic and alignment. And so when it comes to this week's astrology, it's important to have an anthem or an affirmation or a fight song, whatever you have within your back pocket that reminds you to keep going, keep showing up, keep getting up after you've been knocked down. Do not give up. Because with this week's astrology, Sun and Mars enter Sagittarius, greeted by a square to Saturn. So there are going to be some obstacles in your path. There are going to be some hindrances, whether it is external factors or even with the energy of Saturn squaring Sun and Mars, even energies of self-doubt. Can I do this? Am I capable? And you have to be able to pull that strength from within yourself, which we have some Pluto aspects, which does help with that, in order to remind yourself to keep going, to keep showing up, to keep moving towards what it is that you are moving towards, because that is so essential. We're now moving into Sagittarius season, which is the archer. It's about following our arrow around where it is that we can get closer to a sense of meaning. It's around being open to adventure, even if we do get knocked down, even if there are delays, even if there are frustrations that get in the way of our adventure. Do not let them keep you from going on the quest towards your own sense of meaning, towards your own sense of truth. This is the Sagittarius way. And so I'd love to hear, is there a song that gets you pumped up or reminds you to keep going and keep showing up for what it is that you're building within your universe? I just want to let you know, if you listen to Magic Monday, thankfully for everybody who comes and joins us for these horoscopes, I don't typically sing, but I do want to highlight that when I tap into the energy of the week's astrology and really tap into what's important for me to convey as I'm delivering the horoscope, what I do every week is I write down all of the influences that we are experiencing, and then I basically essentially clear my heart, clear my mind, and allow whatever spirit wants to bring forward to come into my awareness. And sometimes it will pull up a particular memory of mine, sometimes it will pull up a particular vision or a movie scene, and sometimes it comes through via song. And today, a random song from the 90s, I want to say, because I feel like I used to hear it going to soccer practice, and it's, I get knocked down and I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. Okay, so that doesn't have to be your fight song. That doesn't have to be your resilience anthem. That doesn't have to be what it is that keeps you going. But all I'm saying, tuning into that energy, that this world cannot keep you down. That's what I love so much about Sagittarius energy. They will find a silver lining even in the darkest of places. They will anticipate dawn even when night lasts forever. That is a superpower that Sagittarius energy has, is being able to look towards the future with optimism, to get excited about what could be, to follow that sense of adventure and freedom, even when there are hindrances and blockages within the path. So we have this energy with this week's astrology where there are challenges, there are obstacles, there are things that are crushing our spirit, dinging at our confidence, making us feel like we can't continue to show up. We could be feeling drained. And again, allow this week's astrology to remind you to rest, but not give up. That is the aim. And particularly, do not allow this world and its cruelty to beat you out of your sense of hope and your faith within a brand new day. This is the essence of Sagittarius and something important to tap into. Even with the hindrances, even with the obstacles, even with the challenges, some of which may be external hindrances, and some may be battles that you are waging within your own soul around, am I capable? Can I do this? Am I good enough? And to be able to get up after you have been knocked down, it takes courage, it takes faith that you can keep going. Even after it feels like life is playing a little game with you and trying to keep you down, it takes courage to keep going. It takes courage to know that your resilience will pay off. It takes courage to keep going. And that's what this week's astrology is all about. And no, you don't have to sing that particular song, but I want you to have some sort of song that encapsulates that energy around, I've got this, I've got to keep going. You cannot keep me down. So we will be discussing all of this energy from Sun and Mars sextiling Pluto, entering Sagittarius, squaring Saturn, Venus opposite Chiron. We will talk about all of these energies thematically as well as day by day. But before we do, take a step inside my Cosmic Cafe. Let me know what you are sipping on to start the week, to supercharge this resilient energy within you, to move into this week with faith and optimism and hope, even when it feels bleak. So for me, I'm charging on my life force energy this week with a hot Americano. Unfortunately, I was dismayed to realize this morning that I am out of almond milk, so it is just a black Americano. But again, you're not going to keep me down. I'm going to keep showing up. And I just want to highlight, since we're all gathered here in the Cosmic Cafe, I hurt my neck really bad last week. So I apologize if I'm kind of like robot-y, because that's how I feel. I feel like I haven't been able to work out, so I just feel like none of my muscles are like sitting right within my body. I just feel weird and wonky. So I just want to highlight, I'm so sorry if my body language is a little off this video. I'm wonky. Okay, I'm off. I'm wonky. There's no almond milk in my Americano. I have this horrible neck injury, which truly a mystery how I could have sustained such an injury. I'm befuddled. Truly, I've not been doing any movement that is out of the ordinary or extra. I don't know how on earth I could have done this to myself. And again, I want to make it so clear. These are such minor grievances. Like, my neck will heal. I will one day purchase more almond milk and my coffee won't be as sad and as bleak as it is currently. Life will go on. And when it comes to your grievances, your challenges that you are experiencing within this week's astrology, there are things that are making life more difficult or more challenging. There are hindrances, whether it's showing up within our external reality or even just our internal belief within ourselves. Me feeling so wonky, I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to go to my consultations. I was like, don't look at me. I'm like a weird robot human. Just get away from me. I wanted to hide. I wanted to give up. I wanted to cancel all my filming, cancel all my consultations, and just lie in bed all week. And granted, I have been resting the neck. Okay, I'm taking good care of the neck all week, but I'm still showing up. I'm showing up for myself. I'm showing up for you all. I get knocked down, but I get up again. I injure my neck with a hair flip gone awry, but I keep showing up and I keep going. And that's exactly what you should do as well this week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into vibe check of the week. So here on Magic Monday, we like to give you a real life scenario that the week ahead astrology feels like, so that even if the terminology of the actual aspects that we are moving through this week, from Mercury trining Chiron, Mercury entering pre-retrograde shadow, that's important, Venus opposing Chiron, if those words don't exactly resonate or bring up strong emotions within you, we essentially liken all of that energy to a real life scenario, so that you can tune into, oh, I've kind of experienced something like this, or that reminds me of when I went through this, or that reminds me of what my friend is going through, or something of that nature that helps you bring the cosmos down here to Earth. And just to make it abundantly clear, I am not saying that every single person will experience this exact scenario. I'm just saying tune into the emotions, the energetics, the vibe of the following scenario. You have been talking to someone for some time. There's been a lot of flirting, a lot of messages exchanged, maybe some making out. It's been kind of like a situationship type vibe, but no labels, no like major discussions around what are we, where are we going, what have you. But you really like this person. You have a huge crush on them. Makes your day when you hear from them, when you guys hang out. And then one day, poof, you just stop hearing from them. Or maybe you even reach out and you don't hear anything back. This person has fallen off the face of the planet. And even if you understand rationally, okay, this is a person who has their own life, their own journey, maybe they got really busy, maybe it's just not the right timing. Even if you understand that to a certain degree, there's still an ouch there. It still brings up certain energies around, why was I not good enough? Why was I not good enough for this person? Even if you know it likely has nothing to do with you and your value, there's still a ping around, why was I not good enough for this person? Why did this person stop not talking to me? What did I do wrong? That's sort of a vibe when it comes to this week's astrology, because we have Venus opposite Chiron, which can be that pang of loneliness. It can be that pang of heartache. Some of you might be navigating losing someone within your universe, whether it's a friendship breakup, a breakup, a failed talking stage. Either way, it is a loss. It is heartbreaking when you are out in the world and you see something that reminds you of this person and you want to text them right away and you're like, ooh, I can't do that any longer. And even if there's not a literal disconnect this week, there can be certain painful reminders that are coming up within your relationship that make you feel like, am I good enough? Am I good enough for this person? Am I good enough for this connection? Am I too flawed to be loved? Those are some energies that can be coming up this week. And with Sun and Mars squaring Saturn, it's sort of that ego punch that you get when you are feeling rejected, when you are feeling not wanted by somebody else. Again, not all of us are going to feel rejected from a person. Some of us might feel rejected from a job or from a group of friends or something of that nature. And there's a huge energy this week where you might be internalizing a little bit around what's wrong with me. And wherever it is that you're feeling rejected this week or not good enough, like I said, with the energy of Sagittarius, it's not about allowing that energy of self-doubt to consume you. It's about, yes, feeling your feelings, feeling that grief if you are essentially letting go of a friend or of a relationship that was important within your life, allowing yourself to feel the feelings. But again, with the energy of Sagittarius, continuing to work that muscle of hope, of faith around releasing that talking stage and what that person could have been and what you guys could have been, and continue to have hope that there is someone out there for you. Or if there's a rejection at business, to continue to have hope that your business is evolving and growing. If there is a rejection within a friendship, allowing yourself to have hope that things can move within a new direction. It is important this week to work that muscle of hope. It's there, but it's beneath the surface. And with the Saturn energy, it might be a little harder to get to it, but it's there. And this week's astrology also feels like that energy around wanting to get back out there. So again, you're not hearing from this person any longer within the vibe check. And there's this energy around wanting to just sit in bed and cry all day. But again, with Sun and Mars sextile Pluto, it's like, no, I gotta keep going. I gotta be resilient. I gotta show up for my life. And with Sun and Mars entering Sagittarius, I gotta get out there into the world. Let me say yes to this party. Let me say yes to this date. Let me intentionally believe and have hope that there is my person out there and that this was not my person. Now, with that being said, you know, when you're in that kind of vulnerable time and oftentimes you say yes to that party, sometimes you can feel even more alone when you're surrounded by people than you do when you're at home eating ice cream, because you're just like not feeling resonant with these individuals. You're looking at the people trying to hit on you and you're like, you're not the person who's not texting me back. And there can be this energy around feeling defeated. Like, why do I even try? Why do I even try to go on these dates? Why do I even try to go to these parties? They're not you, they're not you, they're not you. But again, continually show up. Not every party will be the best party ever. Not every date will be the best date ever. Not every business launch will be the best launch ever. Not every new friendship date will be the best friendship date ever and lead to a long and happy best friendship. But at least you are trying. At least you are getting out there. Because when you're getting out there with the Sagittarius energy, you are having hope that things can improve for you, that things can get better for you, that tomorrow can be an even more beautiful day than today was. And that's a powerful place to be in. And that's the place I want you to believe in this week, even with the hindrances, challenges, obstacles, and ego punches that this week's astrology can encompass. So I'll be breaking down this energy day by day. I just want to make a couple of quick notes before I do. First being the holiday season is coming up. I do have some holiday offerings. Make sure to check them out within the description. I provided also, while you're down there, I provided some timestamps for each day, just in case you want to jump to a particular day, jump back to a particular day. That is available for you there. I also want to highlight, I do have a rather quick, rather speedy way of expressing myself. So feel free to play with the playback speed to speed me up, to slow me down, to attune my voice to the way that you prefer to process information. And all times that I mention will be PST, so please adjust to your time zone before putting into your planner or making a mental note of it. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into the astrology for Monday, November 20th. Very important part of Magic Monday. Very important part. of Magic Monday. So now that we are glossed up, we are ready to talk about Monday, November 20th astrologies. So first note I want to make is that we have the first quarter moon in Aquarius exacting at 2:50 a.m. PST. So this is a check-in point from last week's new moon in Scorpio, which I would love to know what came up, what was stirring within you. Were you feeling restless? Did you have any shocks or surprises? I'm curious if my neck injury was my shock and surprise. It is kind of funny just because Uranus is transiting through Taurus and Taurus governs the neck. Again, it's going to be there for a long time. Not all of us are going to have neck surprises. But anyways, I would love to know, what were your surprises that Sun opposite Uranus had in store? What were your intentions during the Scorpio new moon? I want to highlight that the first quarter moon is the crisis of action point from last week's new moon, where there is this nudge to take at least some sort of action towards your new moon intentions. This week, this Saturday to be exact, Mercury will enter terrain that it will revisit. So all I'm saying is that if you want to use the forthcoming Mercury retrograde in Capricorn and Sagittarius, December 2023 to January 1st, 2024, to edit and to refine something, put at least some energy towards it this week. It's not saying you have to write the entire novel. It's not saying you have to finish the complete launch. Just put some energy towards it. Write about it, have a conversation about it, put it out into the ethers so that you can use Mercury retrograde to refine, to dial in, and perhaps even bring to completion. Now, Mercury is in its detriment, so do be careful when it relates to detail work and things of that nature. But I want to highlight, if there's something where it's like, I need to initiate this new habit before 2023 end. I need to have this conversation before the year end. If there's something that needs to get out there into the world, the first quarter moon, as well as Mercury treading through the last essentially degrees of new territory that it will visit for a while, could be a nudge this week to put some energy towards it. And if you really intended with that Scorpio new moon around, I need this change, right? Putting some energy towards it this week, whether it's if you were like, I need a new job, putting some energy towards putting out some applications. If you want to change within your business, doing some research around it now. I just want to let you know is that the first quarter moon can be that nudge essentially to take action on where it is that you are craving transformation, because we had a whole chit chat about this last week. Make sure to check out last week's Magic Monday if you have not yet. But life doesn't change until you do. And so you can crave all the transformation and the change, but the first quarter moon is sort of that loving kick in the butt that the universe is saying is like, all right, time to get to it. And we know that Aquarius is the humanitarian energy. And with that Scorpio new moon, maybe you didn't feel so much that you wanted your world to change, but maybe you're just looking at the state of affairs globally and you're just like, something needs to change. This is not right. And with the first quarter moon in Aquarius, it's a reminder to take action in the ways that you can. And again, a lot of these matters can feel so daunting. It's like, what can I possibly do? But with the first quarter moon in Aquarius, understanding that there's power in numbers and there's power in dreaming of a more just, more fair world, and that you can make a difference, truly, whether it's being able to take physical action, raising funds, whether it's being able to take mental action, raising awareness. And what I also want to highlight here is even spiritually holding that vision for peace for all humans and for as little suffering for all humans. These are all ways that you can take action. And again, it's taking constructive action, because oftentimes when things feel so bleak and there's so much suffering and there's so much loss occurring within the world, it's easy to allow that to make you give up hope. But we and humanity, we need to have hope. We need to be able to hold that vision of peace, of a better way of doing things within our mind's eye. Again, constructive action towards what it is that we do want, rather than destructive action around spiraling around it's all the worst and everything's so bad. It's better to take constructive action towards what it is that you do want, peace for all humans all over, rather than just stewing within agony at the state of affairs. And again, things are bleak. The astrology mirrors that. You could be feeling it individually within your universe or just observing it within globally, that a lot of people's spirits do feel crushed right now. A lot of people are having a hard time continuing to generate hope and to continue to have something that they feel like they can believe in, or a future that they can essentially connect to. And while it's so easy to slip into mind state around, well, what can I do? What's the point? And I just want to let you know that now more than ever, it's so important not to lose faith, not to lose hope within the world. I'm gonna get a little esoteric here, okay? I hope you guys don't mind, but I do want to highlight that it's so important not to let the darkness within the world win and the dark forces within the world win. The dark forces within the world wants you to be hopeless and dejected and feel like there's nothing that you can do to either improve your own individual reality or improve essentially the global reality as we are navigating it, which is why it's extra important to hold on to whatever helps you generate that light within yourself, whatever helps you have a sense of hope and of faith so that you can be that light within your family, within your community, what have you. There's power in that. Do not feel like your individual flame does not make a difference. You can literally be the flame that helps guide other people when they're moving through darkness. And so I just want to highlight with the first quarter moon in Aquarius, do not lose hope. Understand that you can build towards a more beautiful future, both for yourself as well as for society. And it's just so important as we're dealing with some Saturn energy on Monday. We have some Saturn aspects later in the week. It's just important to know that sometimes the world, it might dampen your flame a little bit, but you cannot allow this world to blow your flame out. You must keep it burning. You never know who you're inspiring or who is looking at the flame and the light that you exude and using that as a guiding force or something that is keeping them going during challenging times. It's important to be the light and continue to put energy towards what it is that you do want, holding that vision of peace globally and embodying that vision that you have for humanity within your daily life. It does make a difference. It does create ripple effects. Do not feel like your actions are falling on empty ears. Girl, what was that sentence? Do not feel like your actions are falling on empty ears. What? What? Even to a vibrational energetic level, your energy can make a difference. And I think the first quarter moon in Aquarius is reminding you of that. And then also on Monday, we have the Scorpio sun sextiling Pluto in Capricorn. And I love that this week's astrology is the bridge that takes us from Scorpio to Sagittarius, because I do believe these are two of the most resilient signs of the zodiac, albeit in different ways. Scorpio is that phoenix energy, right? About being able to regenerate, rebuild. And Sagittarius, it's that energy around being able to continually believe and have hope and go on a quest to get closer to a personal sense of meaning, not allowing the hardships to keep us down, essentially, not allowing the hardships to take our fire out. So I love that both of these signs are sort of bookending this week's astrology. With Sun sextile Pluto, important to highlight, sextiles are opportunity aspects. You have the opportunity to work with this. The opportunity here is to be able to tap into the ways that you are evolving, the ways that you are shedding your prior self like a skin, like a little snake, the ways that you are stepping into your most empowered timeline. To live is to grieve, and that's the energy of Sun sextile Pluto. To be alive means to grieve the moment that came prior and the self that came prior. It's a constant cycle of regeneration. It's a constant cycle of rebirth, and that can be something that makes you sad if you look towards the past, or it could be something that excites you around who will I be, what will I create if you look forward. Again, I'm not able to look either direction because I have a hurt neck. How many times am I going to mention that within this Magic Monday? Guess below how many times I mention my hurt neck. Anyways, when it comes to Sun sextile Pluto, just understand, even with the hardships that are coming up, you have an opportunity to tap into your strength even amongst them. It's hard to continue to be resilient. It's hard to keep going. It's hard to continually show up. And with the energy of Sun sextile Pluto, as well as Mercury trining Chiron, it is helpful to tap into something that helps make sense of you and make sense of what it is that you are going through. That can be something that is quite healing. Let me give an example with the vibe check. Like, let's say you're feeling silly for how sad you're feeling that you have not heard from this person that you've been, talking to and flirting with for the past couple of months. But when you dive deep and learn that your body is literally in withdrawals of this person because you spent so much time with them, it makes you feel a little bit more understood. Again, it doesn't take away the heartache and the sorrow that you're feeling, but it helps you understand a framework around, oh, that's why I'm missing them so badly. My body literally is withdrawing from them, right? It doesn't take away the pain, but it helps you understand it and conceptualize it. Because this gets to why I think astrology is such an important tool, is because when we contemplate, hey, this is a transit that I'm moving through, it doesn't invalidate the struggle and the challenge that you are moving through. But when we acknowledge that there's an astrological reasoning why, we also acknowledge that means there's an end date. If the way that I'm feeling is because of this horrible Chiron transit, or because of this Pluto transit, or because of this, that acknowledges that this transit will come to a close and I will beat this level, essentially. I was sharing this within our self-care astrology group IG chat, and this might be a litlittle bizarre. This might be my Mercury and Aquarius popping out, but to me, I truly think of life as a video game. I think of your natal chart as your player one, essentially instruction manual. And I think of transits as levels to beat. And listen, some transits are hard. Some transits, it might feel like game over, like in Pac-Man, when the scary Pac-Man gobbles you. Like it can feel like game over. But again, with every transit, with every new level, with every new challenge, it gives us new opportunities to rise above and to meet that challenge with strength and with resilience. And understanding and conceptualize transits like that helps me understand that every transit you really unlock a new power. For those of you who have navigated a Pluto transit or Uranus transit, like that is a new level of awareness that you have under your belt. Like I truly do believe with every new transit that I embark upon, a new aspect of myself gets brought up, where a lot of it, as a lot of you know, navigating a lot of these transits, they're super difficult. It's not necessarily experiences that I would repeat, but there's wisdom that these transits give us, as well as there's aspects of ourselves that we didn't even know was within us until the transits and the level that we're trying to beat of life school presents itself. And then we're like, dang, I didn't know that was within me. I didn't know I had that side to me. I didn't know I had that strength in me. I didn't know I was able to maintain so much and to get through it. With Mercury and Sagittarius trine Chiron and Aries, we can either utilize this, as I said, around gaining context around what it is that we are moving through, around, okay, this situation makes sense because of this transit, or this essentially painful story that exists within me makes sense because of this T-square within my natal chart, or any other essentially sense of wisdom that helps you contextualize what it is that you're moving through as part of the bigger narrative of the hero's journey of your soul, right? And just understanding, again, astrology can be that player one guide. It's not saying that your T-square is good or bad. It's just saying, hey, this is part of operating your essentially character within this experience. This is how to operate this energy, or this is why you have this superpower, or this is why you don't have this superpower that this other character in the game has. Helps contextualize it, and thus presents this healing opportunity to not internalize the challenges and the restrictions that we are experiencing with Monday's astrology, but also with this astrology overall. Another interpretation of this would be open to vulnerable conversations. Like when the vibe check, this would be essentially part of your healing journey where you reach out to a friend. You're like, I know this is silly. I know I never officially dated this person, but I'm sad. Like I'm grieving that this person is no longer part of my universe. Let's have a conversation about it. Let me allow myself to be vulnerable and not feel like I have to have all the answers, and really allowing yourself to be heard within that vulnerable way. So allowing the space for vulnerable conversations, because it does feel like on Monday, those conversations can be generating genuine wisdom with Mercury and Sagittarius. And I also want to say being open to essentially learn about the big picture through other people's stories, I want to highlight. And so for some of you, this wisdom may come through a conversation with a loved one that allows you to feel vulnerable and allows you to feel seen. For others, you can be finding this healing energy around feeling seen and feeling heard via media that you are consuming or books that you are reading. Truly, Mercury is how it is that we take in information, and I think it's one of the world's most pure magics when somebody who you do not know, who has lived such a different life arc than you, can make you feel genuinely seen via what it is that they create. I think that is so special. Like to me, all of those books that are in my bookshelf, like Listen, I know it's parasocial, but those are my friends, okay? Those are my friends. Even though a lot of the authors, obviously they've had different journeys than I, sometimes there's just certain phrases or a way that they say something or a way that they express something that I've felt and I have experienced within my life that helps me to feel less alone. That's such a magical thing. And I experience the same thing with content creators as well, is like having comfort creators or like people that I would go to who I just felt this energy around feeling seen. Even if like within my immediate reality, I wasn't necessarily feeling seen, there were people online who allowed me to feel seen and like to feel less alone. I also want to say, because loneliness can be something that's echoing in the cosmos with Wednesday's Venus opposite Chiron energy baked within the cosmos. So with Mercury and Sagittarius, sometimes you have to go on a quest, okay, to find people that you resonate with, right? Like I used to literally, it's so embarrassing, but I would quite literally type in the experience that I was moving through into YouTube. Was my main essentially platform that I consume content on, and I would listen to other people's story times about it because it made me feel less alone. Again, things can make us feel very distant and detached, and there's a lot of times that you could move through this world just being like, am I making an impact? Do people really see me? Do people really hear me? And then there's certain experiences, there's certain things that you read or certain things that you hear that pulls you back to the humanity and the threads that exist that link all of us. And so with Mercury and Sagittarius trining Chiron, beautiful day to journal on what is coming up, to write around what is coming up, have healing conversations about what is coming up, seek out wisdom from other people who can relate to what it is that you're moving through, seek out memoirs, seek out podcasts, seek out YouTube videos, seek out the albums that make you feel seen. It's a beautiful thing when you can allow those raw, tender parts of yourself to feel understood in some way. That's really the energetic with Chiron and Aries trining Mercury and Sagittarius. Again, it doesn't make that inherent wound go away. It doesn't make your heartache go away when you listen to that record and you feel like the singer must have been in the exact same situation as you for them to be singing these words. Or when you read that memoir of someone who moved through something similar, when you listen to a story time of a YouTuber who went through similar friendship breakup than you do, it doesn't take away that pain, but it helps you understand it and understand you're not alone in experiencing it. So really with Monday's astrology, with the last quarter moon, Sun sextile Pluto, Mercury trine Chiron, there is really this acknowledgement around my life is transforming, right? I am becoming a more powerful version of myself. I am being called to take action to change my reality with the first quarter moon. And while I am hurting right now, or there are certain parts within me that are healing and that are raw, I'm seeing it as simply character development. Like really with Mercury and Sagittarius trine Chiron, it's just acknowledging this is a leg in the journey for me to become the person I'm meant to be. And it's sad that to live means to grieve. To live means to shed our prior skin. To live means to grow out of certain relationships or to grow out of certain friendships. Like, it's sad, but we gotta keep looking forward. And you gotta like feel that hurt and feel that grieving, but still believe that you are getting closer to the person that you are meant to be and the life that you are meant to actualize. It's like when we think about the hero's journey, I always think of hero's journey when I think of Sagittarius energy. Like when we think about crossing the threshold, like from the ordinary world, like that is a grieving. You have to let go of what your life was in order for you to answer the call of who it is that you're meant to be. And yes, within the hero's journey, there's always the return back to the ordinary world, but you are fundamentally changed because of the adventure that you went on. So yes, for you to arise as the hero of your journey, to embark upon the adventure of your life, you will have to cross the threshold. You will have to say goodbye to the ordinary world as you know it. And that could be certain connections or certain areas of your life and how you knew it. But again, your adventure awaits. And so while we are being asked to go on this adventure with Mercury and Sagittarius, and of course Sun and Mars entering a little bit later, you may not be feeling particularly motivated to go on the adventure on Monday morning because the moon enters Pisces at 6:29 a.m. So the moon will be void from 2:50 a.m. to 6:29 a.m. And it's greeted by, as all of the mutable planets are right now, a conjunction to Saturn. So there's some Monday blues, okay? Because with the energy of Moon Pisces, you might find that you're more essentially emotional, you're more sensitive on Monday, and with the conjunction of Saturn, there's a lot to do. There's a lot of responsibilities on you, there's a lot of obligations, there's a lot of matters that you need to attend to, and it can feel overwhelming, right? All that is upon you. But like I said, just seeing this, what you're moving through, as a level to beat, okay? Seeing it as it will be a chapter of the memoir, and one day you will be looking back at this and being like, I don't know how I got through it, but I did, because you will. And with the energy of Moon Saturn, there can be certain essentially obligations or frustrations, or even just being really busy that you're like, can I handle all of this? Can I do all of this? And that's where the outside world won't be able to tell you that, whether you can or cannot. Like, you have to decide it within yourself. And with Moon Saturn, just acknowledging, hey, there's a lot of stress on me. There's a lot of pressures on me, but I've got this. Rising to the challenge, knowing that you are stronger than you thought that you were, honestly. And when it comes to Monday's astrology, there's the resilient Sun sextile Pluto. There's the empowering Mercury trine Chiron, whether it's conversations that you have or pep talks you're giving yourself. Okay, Monday is a great day to listen to whichever, fight song, anthem, resilience anthem that allows you to keep going, keep showing up, even when you just want to cry in the bathroom or lie in bed, icing your hurt neck. Still going and still showing up, pulling it deep from within yourself. And then that evening, the Pisces moon will sextile Jupiter in Taurus at 8:20 p.m. So doing something that returns you to the big picture, taking a bath, doing a yoga class, doing something that, yes, connects you to your physical body because it's Jupiter in Taurus, but more importantly, soothes and nourishes your soul is equally important with the Pisces moon. On Tuesday, November 21st, the Pisces moon squares off with Mercury in Sagittarius, which really is just giving escapism Olympics. Honestly, because Pisces moon does not particularly want to be here playing within the very physical, tangible expression of life. Pisces moon is very moved by what it is that we are feeling, what it is that we are inspired by, what it is that we are dreaming, what it is that we are inspired by, what it is that we are moved by. And again, with Mercury in Sagittarius, it's wanting to essentially go on an adventure. It's wanting to search for and find the bright side. So I will say, with the energy of Pisces moon square Mercury in Sagittarius, it might be like one inconvenience and suddenly you're canceling all your meetings and going on a hike instead. Just being like, life is too short for these inconveniences, I'm done. Like, you might just be looking for an excuse to escape from your reality, which again is helpful. It is soul food. I want to know, what's something that you do that brings you back to your soul? Brings you back to your soul. Because a lot of times we talk about physical health, obviously, we talk about mental health, we talk about emotional health, spiritual health is equally important. Like, what charges you up when you feel lost, when you feel hopeless? What allows you to return to who it is that you are and the soul that you are? Is it a spiritual service of some sort? Is it going out to nature? What nature scenery? If so, is it reading a particular book? Is it doing a particular activity? I would love to know. Share below. And that's going to be important to essentially continue to chisel as we move through some of this more challenging astrology, which sometimes can make us feel very defeated, or like really make us wonder, like, God, are you there? Universe, are you there? And it's important to intentionally carve those times to come back to your soul space, to come back to center, to go on some sort of quest in order to get closer to a personal sense of meaning. Like, for me, what brings me back to center is time in nature, which obviously the seasonal changes, it makes it a lot harder to get out into nature because the sun freaking goes down at like 4:30 right now. But there was a day that I was kind of going through it and I had a lot that I was meant to be doing, but I could just feel my soul barometer so low. I literally think of the different needs that you have as like little bars in the Sims computer game of like food, hygiene, and I think of like soul, truly, like your spiritual health as a bar, truly. And I was on red. As we are apt to do living in this world. And that is an easy bar to snooze or to avoid. Other bars might demand more of your attention. So if you're like your food is on red, right, you are going to be more likely to feed yourself because there's physical ramifications. If hygiene is on red, that might be something that you are more likely to take action on. Spirit is easy to snooze. It's easy to avoid, and it's also easy to not realize that you have not been recharging that aspect of yourself. It'll show up in sneaky ways, and it's important for you to have those barometers in place for you to understand, like, hey, I've got to fill up like my soul space beyond my physical health, my mental health, my emotional health, all important, but your spiritual health is important too. Particularly if you're observing that you are feeling hopeless, if you are feeling lost, if you don't have something to believe in, that makes it extra important to prioritize filling up that bar. And so I had a morning where I was realizing that that bar was empty. And so I've built this kind of check-in system to observe when that bar of mine is empty. And it's going to look different for every single person. But I know for me, I'm in red when things start to feel very empty and very hollow and very meaningless. That's when I know I'm like, okay, there's like a disconnect with my soul space. I need to get back to that space, because if I'm doing things without spirit, without love, without presence, what's the point? That's the most important energy. I went on this hike. I really let spirit guide me. I don't really often do this hike, and I was just like, all right, where am I meant to go? And I found this cool kind of secret path, and it led me to this part where like nobody else was, and I had this great view of everything, and I just sat up there and I meditated, and then after I swam in the ocean. Like, keep in mind, here in San Diego it's still pretty warm, and so I went on this journey. And I think all of us with all the Sagittarius energy, be open to go on a journey. It's very sacred and special to be in that space around just seeking wisdom and searching out for wisdom, going on a quest to find wisdom. Again, what I did that day is I just went on this really long hike, and I just asked Spirit, I was like, just take me where I'm meant to go. And it took me where I needed to go, and I felt so recharged. Again, my problems were still there. Everything that was bothering me was still there, but I had the presence and the attunement to the bigger picture in order to understand how these essentially problems and issues fit into the bigger picture of my life. It helped me scale those problems back to their proper scale around after spending time in nature and just taking some time to get quiet so I can like really tune into my intuition and let my soul speak. When I came back to the ordinary world, when I came back to my universe, the same problems and issues were still there, but I had scaled them down to their proper size around within the bigger picture. This is not that big of deal, and I'm going to tackle it with source energy, with my soul, with spirit, in a way that helps me learn from it and deal with it with as much essentially compassion and wisdom as I can muster within this moment. So I'm not saying it has to be Tuesday, but I would advise at some point this week, again, another homework assignment. I don't know why I'm out here signing homework with my Magic Mondays lately, but your homework assignment this week would be go on a quest. Again, it doesn't have to be this big thing. You don't have to jet set across the world. It is Sagittarius season, and I think Travel Tuesday is a thing, so I think there are lots of deals on travels. Sometimes that's helpful to have something that we are looking forward to, again, to cope with what it is that we're moving through. But even if you're not necessarily jet setting or traveling the world, taking some space and time to essentially allow yourself to go on a quest. Go on an adventure, go for a long walk, go to a spiritual class or a meditation class, like allow yourself to return to your soul space and intentionally fill up that meter. It's easy to avoid, but it makes such a big difference when you do take the space to fill up that meter, to remind yourself who it is that you are, what it is that you are doing this for, and your role within the bigger fabric of humanity. It's so important to keep that arena and aspect of yourself alive. And so on Tuesday, the Pisces moon squaring Mercury in Sagittarius, you might be like, forget this. I want to go for a hike. I want to go for a quest. I want to go to a meditation class. I need something to believe in. And we don't have to necessarily explore physically. Maybe you're wanting to explore mentally, explore via travel deals, or explore via books or what have you. There's a part to this astrology around being a seeker. Just being open for wisdom, open for that contemplation around what could be, who could I be? And the thing is to answer the call, to go on that quest. Oftentimes, you go on that quest after there have been certain hardships or certain challenges within your universe. Like oftentimes we don't just go out seeking wisdom and seeking answers when everything's like hunky-dory within our universe. Oftentimes we need something to believe in. That's why we initiate this journey. That's why you stumbled upon astrology. That's why you got into meditation. That's why you learned that new spiritual modality. Because I think to be a seeker, to have questions and to be open to go on an adventure to find them, you are making peace with the fact that you don't know it all. And you're allowing yourself to adventure, whether physically or mentally or spiritually, in order to find those answers and to contemplate the bigger picture of it all and where it is that you could fit into that bigger picture. It's acknowledging I don't have all the answers. It typically comes after a very humbling experience. Like within the vibe check, there might be space in your life where it's like, wow, I used to use all this time and energy thinking about this person and hanging out with this person. Now I have all this space. It feels quite lonely, but what could I possibly do with this space? Where could I go on an adventure to find something that means something to me? And on Tuesday, Mars in Scorpio sextiles Pluto in Capricorn. And so there is this reminder of your own resilience, as if you need another one. Okay, there's a reminder of your own strength. These are the last couple days that we will have Mars essentially in domicile, so operating quite strong. And with the sextile to Pluto, it's a reminder that your physical energy is constantly regenerated. Like with Mars applying to square Saturn, there are times that you will feel drained. There is times that you will feel defeated. There are times that your neck will hurt. I'm so sorry, I really need to stop talking about it. But there will be times that your physical body has limitations. Remind yourself of your physical energy's ability to regenerate. Like I said with the Sims example, those bars can be refilled, right? After sleep, you can refill it. It can be a bad night that you just feel so exhausted, and you might wake up and you might feel totally different the next morning, able to show up and keep going. It's a reminder that your physical energy can regenerate yourself, that you are a powerful person, and they might knock you down, but you can get back up again. So really a theme of this week is when you are tired, rest, but don't give up. You are constantly regenerating yourself. And if you are currently moving through health challenges or anything of that nature, continue to affirm and hold that vision of your body's knowing of how to heal itself. Continue to hold that vision around being in optimal health rather than thinking of it in terms of beating and breaking down your illness. Thinking about coming back to that natural state of wellness that your body knows how to get to. Our body is designed to get us to that state of wellness, and hold that within your mind's eye. Of course, as you continue to care for yourself, but what I'm saying with Mars sextile Pluto, believe in your physical body's ability to regenerate and to repair itself and to get better. You are constantly regenerating yourself. And equally, when we consider our body coming back to wellness, just in case anybody is moving through heartache, which there may be a couple just because Venus opposes Chiron this week, and that may be reflecting in different ways for the collective, I just want to highlight with Mars sextile Pluto, also remember your body's ability to essentially regenerate itself. Like one day you will have a skin that person has never touched. I want to say it's 7 years that it takes for our cells and our skin to regenerate all the way. Understanding with Sun and Mars sextiling Pluto, you are evolving into a person that person will no longer know. And again, that could be grieving for some, but for others of you, that might be something that is a relief for you to know that at this point in time, that you are evolving into someone who this person cannot hurt any longer. And gosh, Spirit is wild. And sometimes, like, I was delivering that rather serious message, and then out of nowhere, I start hearing that Nicki Minaj song where she's like, "You ain't effed me, you effed my old body. You ain't effed Nikki, you effed Nicole's body." Like that started playing full blast within my mind, which was just very different tone-wise with the message I was delivering, but it is, I guess, aligned in that there's an energy around you are evolving into somebody that this person no longer has the ability to reach nor hurt. If somebody is dealing with a major betrayal or someone who hurt you very deeply, again, with Sun Mars sextiling Pluto, you might not fully be to that evolution. You might not fully have had the 7 years where all of your skin cells have regenerated, where they literally have never touched your body in the existence that you have currently. But there's a reminder that every single day right? You are getting further from the version of you that they hurt, and you are evolving into someone that they no longer have the ability to hurt any longer. So I just want to highlight that. Again, that won't necessarily always apply to romantic relationships. It can apply to friendships or even just like enemies or things of that nature. With Mars sextile Pluto, it's just digging deep. You might be feeling dejected at the moment. Rest, lick your wounds, but do not allow yourself to give up. Keep going. And so at 5:35 p.m., the moon sextile is Uranus. So like I said, the beginning of the day, if you're not necessarily able to go on a quest or go on a mission to find answers for yourself, if you're at work, you could find your thoughts are all over the place. You're deep in daydreaming. You're dreaming about this trip and this conversation, and you're missing, your situation. Like your mind just could be everywhere. And with the sextile to Uranus in the evening time, it is optimal to inject some new into your day, whether it's new media or saying yes to an invitation that you would typically say no to. And I do want to let you know that that evening, the Pisces moon meets up with Neptune. Always important when it comes to the moon aligning with Neptune to connect, like I said, to fill up your soul space. That's equally important. If you're not able to, ditch work and go for a hike, it's even prayer or meditation or a class, whatever helps you connect to the needs that exist within you outside of your physical, mental, emotional needs, like your soul needs, right? It's so important to be intentional about that. What I do want to say is Neptune energy does ask us to feel connected to something bigger, which we can do with essentially spiritual work and things of that nature. And sometimes a call for Neptune in an attempt to want to feel that big picture sense of peace or of love in all that is, sometimes we can feel tempted to want to find that sense of peace and all that is via wine or other substances. Like sometimes with Moon Neptune, we're wanting to avoid our emotions. We're wanting to avoid how it is that we're feeling. You, in the vibe check, you're so sad about losing this person that you just want to drink your sorrows away. Again, on Tuesday, the desire for escapism is high. And there's such a difference between constructive escapism, going on a hike where you're just asking spirit, or essentially show me what I need to know, remind me who it is that I am, remind me what it is that I'm doing this for. There's such a difference between that versus let me just turn off my emotions, turn off my thoughts, let me just disconnect. Either way, when you return from that seeking, whether it's seeking on a journey or seeking via a bottle of wine, either way, when you come back, the same problems will be there, but the difference is this. The first activity, going on this quest, going on this journey, essentially allowed you to feel returned with spirit, with source energy, versus if you kind of escape into a bottle of wine, those problems are still there, and now you're probably a little bit more drained than you were even to begin with it. But just being intentional with what it is that you are looking for, because you can feel like you're getting closer to something when you're drinking or indulging in substances, but then you sober up and you're back to square one. Those revelations that felt so profound at the moment, you're realizing they feel empty and they feel hollow. Again, I'm not against wine whatsoever. I'm just saying be intentional with where it is that you are seeking answers. They won't come at the bottom of the bottle, and reality's hard. We need little escapes from it in order to rejuvenate, right? I literally put everything I needed to do that day, and I was just like, I can't, like my soul can't do this. Everything's feeling empty and meaningless. I can't do it. But I returned back to it feeling renewed. So as you escape reality, ensure that you're escaping into something that will charge up your soul space. Genuinely. I do want to highlight that with the sun at the 29th degree, again, it's kind of heightening that crisis energy, right? That need for that something more, that depth that you are craving, which kind of amplifies some of those more seeking energies that are baking the cosmos. But you could just observe that in interacting with the collective, people are a little bit more frenetic or a little bit more panicked or a little bit more intense. So on Wednesday, the 22nd, the sun will enter Sagittarius around 6 a.m. So I want to take this moment to wish a very happy birthday to all of the Sagittarians out there. We adore you for your adventurous spirit, for your ability to look for the good even after you've seen some of the darker underbellies of humanity, for your ability to breathe life and humor into every party. Thank you so much for being you, for your commitment to finding truth, for your desire to attune us to the big picture of what matters with it all. I hope you all have an amazing season celebrating you. So even though this energy of Sagittarius is so big picture, it's so optimistic, I do want to highlight you may not not be in that vibration right away. Let me say that. Because like I said, the sun enters Sagittarius, and then early on Thursday, it squares Saturn. So you could feel that essentially square to Saturn building, where maybe parts of you want to be free and want to go on this adventure and want to seek for answers. And with the square to Saturn, there's hindrances, there's limitations, there's obstacles that are getting in your path. And it's so important not to allow those things to keep you down. Like a lot of times when I make decisions like the one that I made last week, where it's just like, you know what, everything's going to have to wait. I am on red alert in regards to my soul. I need to prioritize that before I do anything else. And then I drove over to immerse myself in nature. A lot of times there will be some sort of obstacle, right? You can't find parking where it is that you drove to. You get a mean text from your boss the moment that you get to your meditation class. You arrived at this festival, so excited to have a great time, and you realize that you only booked one tent spot instead of two, or whatever it is, you know, wherever it is that we're finding the Sagittarian sense of exploration. Sometimes there can be hindrances and challenges. I've actually observed it so often in terms of me making that decision around, I need to go on an adventure, I need to do something different, I need to get back to my soul space. Oftentimes there will be almost this test to a certain degree that's kind of like testing you around, okay, are you going to like return home and just allow that to dampen your spirit any longer? Or are you going to push through and dig even deeper to commit to having a great hike, or having a great music festival, or not letting this mean text hold you down and getting it out of your mind's eye with a meditation class? Again, new challenges present new opportunities to exert more strength, whether that's in a physical level with Mars separating from Pluto, which occurred the day prior, but also spiritual strength around, no, I will not let this affect me. No, I will not let this get in the way of my quest that I am seeking. No, I will not allow this to dampen my faith within humanity. I'm going to continually search for hope and faith. I'm going to continue to find my something more, even with the challenges and the obstacles that actually happen so often when I make that decision. Now I really start to think of it as a test from the universe around how bad do you really want to find these answers? And again, can you hold space to find those answers even with the difficulties and the challenges? Because I do want to highlight the energy of Sagittarius. It's not like this positive Pollyanna, let's just focus on the good and avoid all of the bad within the world. No, no, no. It's the sign of the truth. So it's being able to carry the nuance around, there is a lot of bad things that are happening both within my world as well as within the universe, but I'm not going to let that dampen my spirit or put out my flame, because that's something that's so important, both for me to continue to operate my life with as much spirit and with much meaning as possible, but for me to make a difference from that space around, and not just igniting that light within me, but protecting it from the darkness that looms. Like that is what true optimism is being able to hold that light around what it is that you believe in, around what is going good, what gives you a sense of faith, even when there are challenges and difficulties and hardships that are around you, still allowing yourself to protect that light that exists within you and that you're following. Also on Wednesday, Venus opposes Chiron, and this can be essentially a pang of loneliness, of not having the relationship that other people have. Again, of that energy of rejection within the vibe check. Even this is the holidays, and I know a lot of times for the holidays it brings up a lot of feelings around family and around belonging. And with Venus opposite Chiron, it could be this energy around, why don't my relationships look like other people's relationships do? Why am I not good enough to have relationships like that? Why am I not valuable enough to have relationships like that? That's what we talk about when we talk about Venus, is self-worth and value, and also beauty. Am I not pretty enough? Is that why my situationship ghosted me? Am I not wealthy enough? Is that why this person never talked to me again? What is it about me? But again, it's so important. We're all on our own quest. We're all on our own hero's journey. So it's honoring that situationship. They're on their own journey, okay? And I get it. It's so easy to be like, well, there must be something wrong with me, but it's so important not to take things personally. We're all on our own quest. We're all on our own journey. Their quest took them elsewhere, and that's okay. Try your best not to internalize the pangs of loneliness or lack of belonging that you are feeling at this point in time. Because oftentimes when you've been hurt, when you've gone through a breakup, when you've gone through a friendship breakup, if someone has disappointed you, there can be an energy around wanting to close your heart, being like, I can't risk being hurt again. I need to shut down. But again, part of the optimism of the energy of more and more the cosmos entering Sagittarius is for you to dare to hope for more positive new beginning, for you to dare to hope for a enjoy love in a relationship that does feel balanced, right? With Venus and Libra, where you are giving and receiving in equal measure. And it's this true symbiotic connection that exists for you. When you close your heart, when you shut yourself down, when you feel like you're jaded, you are the one who pays the price for that. And it's a bold thing to be vulnerable. It's a bold thing to have hope for the next person that you start talking to, for the next relationship that you initiate. It's a bold act to be sweet and soft and vulnerable and kind and compassionate, even when there have been things that have hurt you. It's a daring act. So for some of you with Venus opposite Chiron, you might be really feeling the pain of a recent breakup. You might be really in that space around wanting to feel jaded, around, okay, well, I'm just never going to fall in love. It's never going to happen for me. Allow yourself to heal, certainly, but with the Sagittarius energy, believe that you can move towards a relationship that is truly balanced, truly symbiotic, truly pours into you just as much as you pour into that person. That love exists. And we close off our potential to find it when we aren't open to find it. Like, part of this Sagittarius energy is just being open to life, saying yes to that party, saying yes to that date, because you never know how the universe is trying to get that energy of connection to you. So even if you're not literally dealing with a breakup or a friendship breakup or going no contact with a family member or something where there is that pang around, dang, I really wanted this relationship to be something different than what it is, and I'm grieving that. For some of you, there can just be old stories, old insecurities coming alive within your connection, old feelings within you around, am I good enough for this person? Do they even like me? Just with Sun square Saturn, there is this vibe in the cosmos where you might not be feeling yourself that much right now. And with Venus opposite Chiron, there could be an energy around feeling old wounds, old stories come alive within your connections. And it's so important that these old wounds and these old stories don't come alive and make you shut off or push that person away, right? Hurt them before they can hurt you or what have you. Like, when it comes to Chiron energy, yes, it can be such a deep wound. It can make us feel so inadequate, so insecure, so not good enough. But I truly do believe Chironian types do have a very healing vibe about them. And when we have Chiron energy, there could be something very healing about vulnerability around, rather than pushing this person away so they don't see that hurt, that Chiron part within you, allowing them to see it and feeling as your connection deepens as a result of that, around allowing yourself to be truly seen, not feeling with Venus and Libra that things need to essentially be all pretty and perfect and for appearances. With Venus opposite Chiron is that energy around, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm moving through, like, do you still love me? Do you still like me? And it's so special when you're in a connection where they're like, absolutely. Venus opposite Chiron asks you, what would it look like to allow this part of myself to be seen within this connection? It can feel so scary. And this is not an original thought that I'm going to share with you. I think I found it on TikTok or something in the nature, but I read something that basically said, there's such a magical part about a relationship that loves the part of you that made you feel unlovable within past relationships easily, naturally, just like breathing. Like the parts of you that other people have told you are broken or flawed and that no one else would deal with and no one else would love about you, and to be able to be in a relationship where someone just loves you. And that's not just the pretty, what's on the surface, right? Venus and Libra, it's also the pain that exists underneath. Again, I'm not saying that you need to necessarily like just say, hey, here's all of what it is that I'm going through and dump it on somebody else. But if you are trying to keep that energy hidden and keeping people at arm's length because you don't want them to see it, understand that with the energy of Chiron, yes, it's our vulnerabilities, it's our insecurities, it's our inadequacies that can make you even more lovable. Like when people understand what it is that you have gone through, what it is that you have come back through, it paints a more full picture of who it is that you are, because you are not just who it is that you are within this present step of the journey. It's also how it is that you have overcome all of the hardships, all of the difficulties that you have navigated within your world. It's equally the person that you are evolving to be. And so sometimes when we don't allow people to see the parts of us, the parts of our story that are wounded or that are fragile or that are vulnerable, we aren't allowing them to see the full picture of who it is that we are and the challenges and the hardships that we have come back from. So I just want to say, whether this is something that you're dealing with internally or you're dealing with this within a connection around, you have a partner who won't really like open up, who won't allow you to see what it is that they're moving through, what it is that they've moved through. There's just this energy of Chiron and Venus, and understanding that the wounds and the hurts, it doesn't dampen our capacity to love. In fact, it deepens our capacity to love. No matter how much you have been hurt, you can always love again. Love is a renewable resource. It's important with all this sextile to Pluto energy. These are renewable resources. And in fact, sometimes when you've been deeply hurt, it deepens your capacity to love both yourself as well as somebody else. As Rumi says, the wound is where the light enters you. And so on Wednesday, there is this painful Venus opposite Chiron. A lot of you could be experiencing this in a very mundane way around, oh, why don't I make as much money as that person? Or on your Instagram feed, like, oh, why don't I have a family celebration like that person? Or dealing with your, failed talking stage, looking at other people's relationship, be like, oh, why don't I have a relationship like that person's relationship? There can be some of that energy. Just important to say, with Venus and Libra opposing Chiron and Aries, we do not see the full story. Like I've been saying, with Venus and Libra, things can look nice and pretty to a surface level, but we all have ways that we are hurting. Like with Chiron and Aries, we all have ways that we are going through it. So trying not to allow yourself to compare your life within the full embodied thing that it is, you seeing all the context of what it is that you're moving through. Don't compare all of that to what you see to the surface of other people's realities. It's just simply not playing fair, right? And so I also want to add, in addition to that, we have the moon meeting up with Neptune a little after midnight. I talked about that on Tuesday, as you can feel that build. But with moon on Neptune, again, there can be kind of a dreamy, hazy vibe, especially over the beginning portion of the day, being kind of here, but kind of elsewhere, being a little bit more sensitive to your environment. With the Pisces moon sextiling Pluto and trining Mars, it's exactly that point that I was making earlier, where it's understanding that emotions are renewable. Just as we talk about love as a renewable resource, just as we talk about your energy as a renewable resource, your emotions are a renewable resource. It's not always going to feel as it does today. It's so important to understand. You could feel so different in 2 days' time. You could feel so different in a week's time. Like your current weather of your emotions is not a permanent fixture within your world. And with the energy of the Pisces moon trine Mars in Scorpio, it's a reminder that strength isn't just something that is physical. It's also something that's emotional. Like I was saying, it's an act of courage to have hope. It's an act of courage to see the best in people. It's an act of courage to be optimistic when you're going into a new relationship and to allow that person to have your heart even when you have been hurt before. It's an act of courage to see the best in others. It's an act of courage to dream about a more beautiful reality. These are all courageous acts, and it does take a lot of strength. And the Pisces moon trining Mars reminds you of that. And so the moon will be void after the Pisces moon trines Mars at 7:10 until it enters Aries at 9:19 a.m., going on to trine the Sagittarius sun. So we are now in the waxing gibbous moon phase. I do want to let you know that we do have a Gemini full moon on Monday. So as we get closer and closer to the weekend, as that moon gets bigger and bigger, our own emotions and frustrations can also wax right along with it. So I do want to make that clear. But I will say, while there's some painful astrology taking place at this moment, whether it's external circumstances that are reminding us of embedded wounds, or dealing with why don't I have what this person has, or dealing with insecurities within relationships, wherever you're feeling this energy, with the energy of Aries moon trining Sagittarius sun, continue to work that muscle around. It won't always feel like it does today. Keep going, don't give up. You're on this journey, right? You're on this quest, and there's going to be challenging parts of the hero's journey. Like when you watch any movie, when you watch any film, there's moments that you think that the protagonist has been defeated, right? You think that the foe and the enemy has got one over on them, and you think that the movie's going to close. But what always happens? They bounce back, right? They keep fighting, they keep going, they keep essentially moving towards that mission and that quest. So acknowledging that we are going to have times in which we feel like the world is like beating us down. We feel like we have lost this battle, but remind yourself this is just a step within your hero's journey. This is a step in the quest. This is a scene in the movie of your life. It is not the entirety of it. Keep going. Keep growing. So on Thursday, November 23rd, a little after midnight, we do have the Sagittarius sun squaring Saturn in Pisces, which can be a blow to the ego. It could be this energy where you're excited to go on this quest, you're excited to go for this hike, or you need this meditation class because you're just feeling so burnt out, or you're excited to go to this music festival or go to this concert, finally do something fun that'll recharge you. And then with square to Saturn, Saturn, real life stuff is getting in the way, or you were feeling yourself and then your crush rejected you and now you just feel like a literal fleck of dust on this planet. Like there's just a blow to the ego with the energy of Sun square Saturn, where you just might be feeling down on yourself. Really, whether you're feeling this with external blockages that are making you feel low on self-confidence and self-worth, some of you might just be feeling this in terms of your sense of faith. Why bother? I feel hopeless. What's the point? Because again, there is a certain luxury around feeling jaded or giving up hope. Because again, when you give up hope, when you don't expect anything from this planet and from this experience, you're essentially moderating your expectations, where you don't allow yourself to get excited because you don't want to be disappointed. You don't allow yourself to open up to other individuals because you don't want to be hurt. Again, it's not necessarily a very enjoyable way to live, but it is a safe way to live. If you never have any hope, you won't be disappointed. If you never allow yourself to be truly deeply seen, you won't be hurt. If you never put yourself out there and take a risk, you won't fall. But that's not living. Like, life is the adventure of it. That's why we watch movies with the hero's journey, right? That's why we read books that have these challenges and obstacles. Life is in the becoming. It's not in that end result. And when you essentially resign yourself to, I'm just going to stop trying, you lose. And this world loses out from experiencing your magic. It's brave to maintain faith, even in bleak times. That is a brave act. And so on Thursday, that can be echoing in the cosmos, whether it's faith in humanity, faith that your family situation will improve, faith that your heart will heal, faith that your career will improve, faith that your health will improve, whatever it is, it's important to maintain that faith. Again, it can feel dangerous to be somebody who is hopeful and has a sense of faith in a world that sometimes can make it feel like it wants to knock it out of you. Constantly, right? It's bold to be a dreamer in a world of cynics. It's powerful to be somebody who is open and kind in a world of many individuals who have shut and hardened their heart because they do not want to get hurt again. Again, no longer having faith and just resigning yourself to the way things are and they're always going to be like that. Like, you can live your life like that. Like, I'm not saying anybody needs to live their life one particular way. You're more than welcome to. And it's almost like living life with one of those like big puffy suits, right? Where it's like, even if you knock into something, like, it's not going to essentially affect you because you're not allowing yourself to be seen. Because to be seen is to be seen all as Chiron energy, which is essentially your hurts and your vulnerabilities and your humanity and your heart. And it's painful to be seen, because when you're seen, you can have the capacity to be hurt. And so I think with the energy of Sun square Saturn, you might be feeling a literal nudge to want to not be perceived, because Sun is our visibility. So you might be like, I just don't want to be perceived. I don't want to go out into the world. I don't want to start my social media channel. I don't want to go to this retreat where I don't know anybody, because what if they don't like me? I don't want to start this new course of something that interests me because, oh my gosh, what if I really like it? Then I have to brand myself within this new business. There can be a certain energy where you're wanting to hide or wanting to run away from life or distance yourself by life by keeping yourself in safe mode. And again, you can feel that if you're moving through something really painful and really challenging, like if you're fresh off a breakup, fresh off a friendship breakup. Sometimes we need kind of that space to hermit, to withdraw, to have that puffy suit, right? When operating out into life, to give ourselves some space to kind of regenerate our energy stores. But with the energy of Sun square Saturn, rest, don't quit. Right? You can rest to regenerate your spiritual stores, but don't give up on life nor yourself. And so on Thursday, the moon will be in Aries all day. So it does accentuate that Venus opposite Chiron, which is separating in the cosmos currently. So Aries conjoins Chiron a little after noon. So there can be some uncomfortable discussions or discussions that bring up a certain pain point within you. And with the Aries moon opposite Venus, there might be this energy around, should we bring up this topic, even if it's controversial? Or should we keep the peace? Like, that might be something that you're debating on, especially with the Aries moon trining Mercury in Sagittarius. So those are some energies that we're moving through on Thursday. And the reason I say people might be a little bit more on the offense, whether it's verbally, because we do have the Aries moon trining Mercury in Sagittarius, which could mean if you're celebrating Thanksgiving, people at the dinner table try to get a rise or talking about controversial topics or things of that nature. But the other reason I say that is because Mars is chilling at the anaretic degree on Thursday. So people could be more likely to want to fight or get in arguments or something of that nature. And again, if someone does kind of come at you crazy with the energy of Sun square Saturn and Venus opposite Chiron, your defenses might feel low right now. Like when you are not feeling good about yourself, when you're having a bad mental health day, or your spiritual health is on red, right? Or you just had a blow to your life, you lost a job, you had a friendship breakup, or something where you're just not feeling yourself, oftentimes other people's venom is more likely to penetrate into our soul because we're already not feeling ourselves or feeling our best, right? So oftentimes there might be a hate comment where it's like, okay, whatever, that's somebody projecting their own stuff. But if you're already going through it, that might affect you a little bit more so. If there's a family member who likes to get a rise out of you, sometimes when you're feeling yourself, you're just like, okay, whatever. But this might be a day that you're like, oh, is that true? Am I going to be alone forever? So it's just important to understand a lot of times when people are shooting venom your way, being very aggressive, trying to get a rise out of you, trying to fight with you, it's important not to internalize it or to believe what it is that they're saying. Sometimes people exist with so much poison within them that they can't help but to unleash it on other people when they can. And again, when your defenses are low, you're more likely to take that in as your own personal truth with the energy of Sun square Saturn. Be like, well, who am I to say otherwise? Maybe what they say is true. And you might not be in a space to get to this today because, like I said, we're feeling a little bit weaker in terms of our confidence and our self-worth. But Sagittarius is a fire sign, right? So you can burn away other people's projections or assumptions of you and continue to move towards what it is that you know to be true about yourself, your own meaning, your own values, your own big picture. That's why it's important to fill up your spiritual cup every so often, because then you are less likely to allow advertisers, adversaries, enemies, frenemies. You're less likely to allow other people to tell you who you are and what you need, because you have a connection to source energy which reminds you of your big picture. And it makes those words or other people's venom almost kind of bounce off of you like Teflon, which is why that's an important, essentially, meter of your life to refill often. On Friday, the 24th, Mars joins the Sagittarius party in the cosmos. So now we have quite a bit of fire in the cosmos, which is nice because, like I said, fire can be something purifying, to be able to burn away other people's hate comments or hater energy to get back to what is my big picture, what means something to me, what gives me a sense of faith, where do I find my bigger picture, because it helps replenish your energy stores where you're less likely to be affected by other people's opinions of you and of your life. But what I want to say with Mars entering Sagittarius is that Mars is leaving its domicile. So it's peregrine in Sagittarius, so it's not necessarily super happy nor super unhappy. It is simply neutral, but it is getting a little bit more unhappy since it's going from territory it loves to territory that it's like, okay, this is fine. We'll deal with this. With Mars in Sagittarius, you can find that you are craving a larger sense of feeling free. And like I've been saying, every time something enters a mutable sign, it's greeted by a square to Saturn. So you might be really craving to want to feel free to go on an adventure, and life might not be affording that to you at this moment. You might be feeling stuck. You might be feeling drained. With Mars, it's our energy. And with the square to Saturn, you might be feeling just defeated and exhausted. You're like, Haley, I want to go for a hike and go to meditation classes and do anything that will help me return to my bigger picture, but I just don't even have the energy to muster up. Like I've been saying, rest, don't give up. With Mars square Saturn, it's important not to overdo it. Me adding myself, because I keep trying to work out even with this stiff neck, and I'm like, oh, I hate healing. It takes so long. That's a message for Venus opposite Chiron. Healing of the heart takes a long time. Okay, let me say that for anyone who's dealing with heartache. And so Mars will square Saturn the following day. But again, you could be feeling that energy build. We're just feeling defeated, just feeling drained, just feeling more exhausted. But other than that, with Mars and Sagittarius, we want to feel free. We want our energy to be put towards going an adventure. We want to put our energy towards what gives us a sense of faith and of meaning. And listen, that might look so different than the examples that I gave earlier of nature and meditation classes. Maybe for you, what charges up your soul space is live shows. Maybe it's comedy shows. Maybe it's just chilling at home watching Netflix. Hey, I'm no one to speak about what recharges your soul. I just think with the energy of Mars now being in a Jupiter sign, it's important to invest some of your energy towards your soul space or towards your big picture. And it might feel like a waste of time around, why would I do something that's just to fill up my soul space when I have these business endeavors and I have all of these arenas that I need to get to within my life? If you check in with yourself yourself and you're feeling that you are veering towards that red territory where you are feeling hopeless, where you are just feeling drained and defeated and lost and you don't recognize yourself, that makes it even more important to do something that returns you back to your soul space, because you with your soul approaching all those tasks and responsibilities is going to be way more effective. For any of my fellow self-employed loves, I know it can feel like a waste of time because you're like, oh, I need to be doing billable projects and all of the things, but taking a break from essentially the daily grind to return to the big picture, you'll return back to your work so much more inspired. Think of it as a day for field research. Like with Mars answering to Jupiter now, you could be wanting to invest your energy in things that return you to the bigger picture of your life, things that are a genuine reflection of what means something to you within this life, as well as with Mars answering to Jupiter, what is genuinely going to move the needle within your world and move you closer towards that growth that you are craving. And so on Friday the 24th, again, you could be feeling that square to Saturn creeping in, feeling drained, wanting this freedom, wanting to do all the things, but with the square to Saturn feeling tied down by responsibilities. People asking, hey, can you just do this one thing for me? Because I do want to highlight Mars is now in a mutable sign, and Sagittarius, as we highlighted, is quite optimistic, and you could be a little overly optimistic about your energy at this time. Like you could be like, yeah, I can handle this and I can do that, and then I could be there at 3 p.m. and there at 5 p.m. You have a finite amount of energy to expend every single day. Mars building to square Saturn reminds you of that. Around no matter how optimistic you are that you can fit in all of these things within your day, there will be a time that your energy hits the wall. And when you agree to too much, when you say yes to too many people, you say no to yourself, because you shapeshift and you try to do everything for everyone and be everything for everyone, and you forgot to prioritize being enough for yourself. And again, prioritizing your soul space or what makes you feel connected to the bigger picture, it allows you to show up for your daily tasks with a lot more presence, with a lot more love, with a lot more meaning. Honestly. And so get comfortable saying no this weekend. I'm not kidding. It's November, okay? It is November. We are saying no. Like with Mars square Saturn, it's okay for you to say no. I'm going to give you a line that my mentor always shares with me when I have to say no to something, where it's like saying, oh gosh, I would really love to, but my schedule will not allow me to. It's kind of nice because it kind of like outsources it around, ooh, I would love to, but my schedule. But that's the thing, it's just being realistic, because a lot of us have been ingrained that we need to do it all and be it all. And even if we're stressed, even if we're already burnt out, we just need to be able to stretch and contort ourselves to fit in this one more thing. It is a powerful thing to acknowledge, hey, my energy has limits. Whether it is my physical energy, my emotional energy, my spiritual energy, I do have limitations, and I do have to be intentional on recharging it before I can show up. And so on Friday's astrology, we know that Mars square Saturn is looming the following day. But with Mars entering Sagittarius, there is this reminder, life is for the living and for the adventuring and for the seeking. And that means some blunders, that means some mishaps, that means some challenges. That's all part of the adventure, that's all part of the journey. But with Mars entering Sagittarius, you deserve a life that makes you feel free, and you are free to pursue what is meaningful for you within your life. And so on Friday, the moon will square Pluto at 9:40 a.m. PST, at which point it is void. And this could plunge your emotions into a pretty intense place, whether it's like anxiety or just feeling a little bit more on edge. That does improve when the moon enters Taurus at 12:29 p.m. And this combination makes me smile, because all of the Sagittarius energy is like, let's go for adventure. And then with the moon entering Taurus, to return home. Like, it's nice to go on an adventure, but it's equally nice to come home and run a bubble bath and do some, online shopping for those on your holiday wish list, or to garden or what have you, your little creature comforts. Like with the moon entering Taurus, that can be something that is very soothing at the time being. And try not to pressure yourself if you are feeling more exhausted. Honestly, with Mars square Saturn, it's okay to not be able to do it all and be it all to every single person. It's okay to let people down. It's okay to focus your time and energy on the projects that are the most important to you. Remember, it's not you, it's just your schedule that won't allow it. But on Friday, there is some stabilizing with the Taurus moon sextile Saturn. Now, the moon's building, so the moon's getting bigger and bigger, so there can be emotions that are coming to the surface. But with the moon entering Taurus, there feels to be something on Friday where, yes, maybe you're feeling these building emotions, but you're pretty gifted in being able to figure out, okay, what's gonna soothe me? What's gonna make me feel good? Do I need a walk? Do I need a bubble bath? Do I need to read? Do I need a conversation? Like, that's where I think Exalted Moon really shines, is it's not saying that they always have the most perfect emotions, emotions, but there is a natural, essentially, language when you have an exalted moon or moon in rulership around understanding your own emotional rhythms and get yourself back into essentially the even keel. And then that evening, great time to do something lovely. The Taurus moon is aligning with Jupiter, who, PS, is who the sun is answering to. Actually, a lot of the cosmos is answering to Jupiter at this moment, who in turn is answering to Venus in Libra, who is the sole depositor in the sky right now. So there is this desire to want to find harmony. There's this desire where there were some blunders, there were some mishaps, there were some ego punches, there were some challenges that are taking place within essentially your universe. But Friday is a great time to remind yourself of the comforts and the delights of this human experience, right? Like, it might have been kind of a bad week. You didn't hear from your crush, but maybe you feel better after a bubble bath or after a night with your friends or something of that nature. With moon on Jupiter, we're feeling optimistic, and we're also really wanting to soothe our internal landscape. There can be a jovial, more celebratory, or more sensual vibe sort of coating the cosmos with this energy. Again, it doesn't exact until Saturday, but just something to be mindful of. On Saturday, the 25th, so this is when Mars squares Saturn. And again, because Mars is pretty slow, we will feel this build essentially Friday. We'll feel it separate on Sunday. But this is the energy around hitting a wall, whether it's like energetically trying to take it on, being overly optimistic around how much you can get done within a week, within a season, and then hitting a wall and feeling defeated. And when it comes to Mars square Saturn, it's really a reminder to manage your expectations around how much you demand and expect from yourself. You are just but a human body, right? You cannot do it all and also be enough for yourself as well. So really optimal weekend to practice your boundaries. If, you know, your boss asks you if you can come in, like really optimal, essentially weekend to be like, gosh, I would love to, but my schedule would not allow. Or another phrase to have in your back pocket, I do not have the bandwidth for that at this time, because that's not a lie. The thing is, even if you have a free hour in your schedule, you might need that hour to replenish the spiritual barometer. You might need that hour to soothe your mind. The gaps in your schedule are not invitations to fill them. Even if you have the time, do you have the bandwidth? The physical, emotional, spiritual bandwidth to take this on? And with Mars square Saturn, yes, you might be feeling drained and defeated and exhausted. You could be feeling beat up by life. You're just like, life, can you give me a break? For real? Like, I finally decided to go on this hike, and then I get there and I hurt my ankle. Like, are you kidding me? This week definitely feels like a moment where you could have certain moments of like shaking your fist up at God, being like, God, universe, why? Why? Because sometimes it can feel like when we're in challenges or hardships, it's like, universe, why are you making me go through this? But in the spirit of resilience, it's really important to say that these hardships are what give your wings the strength to fly, essentially. Like, if you ever were to see a butterfly crawling out of the cocoon, don't help it out of the cocoon. Because if you help it out of the cocoon, if the universe answered your plea, if you're like, universe, why are you making me do this? If it swept in and made everything better for you, you would not have the ability to be the strongest person that you can be. Because if we help the butterfly when it's struggling to get out of the cocoon, it'll never fly. Getting out of the cocoon is something very painful for the butterfly, but fighting against the cocoon and against the hardships are what give their wings the ability to fly. So again, you might be like, God, universe, where are you? Why is this happening to me? But again, do not lose faith. Spirit is with you. Universe is with you. This just can be a level that you're being asked to pass in order to unearth a new level of strength within your being. And when I was tapping into the vibe check this week, like I said, I heard that song, I get knocked down and I get up again. You're never gonna get me down. But I also saw this clip, I think it was from the news, and I'm going to hopefully find it and insert it or just explain it to you. So this news anchor is interviewing two people who are running in the snow, and they're talking about, yeah, it's so great running in the snow. The surface is great for running. And then essentially they say bye to the snow runners, and the snow runners run off into the distance, and the news anchor's going back to the news. And then you see one of the runners just completely fall in the ice. Right? And the news anchor is like, oh my God, are you okay? But the runner just gets up and just like waves. Like, that would be so embarrassing after just being like, yeah, just out here running in the snow and then to fall, right? But what can you do but get back up? What can you do but continue to running and continue trying? Just know that whatever battle you feel like is winning over you, whatever you feel powerless over at this moment, understanding this too shall pass, okay? Life can knock you down, but it cannot keep you down. So with Mars square Saturn, rest, okay? It's not a time to overdo it, but don't give up. Don't count yourself out of the race, okay? Continue showing up. Editing Haley here. Yes, I am in bed. Yes, this is a heat pad. You know why. But I just wanted to pop in and say that with Saturday, something I forgot to mention within the Saturday portion is that Saturday is the day that Mercury officially enters its pre-retrograde shadow period. So Mercury will station retrograde in December, but starting this Saturday, it is entering terrain that it will revisit. What does this mean for you? It means be cautious when it comes to signing new documents, making new decisions, putting brand new things out there. This is essentially a time that's great when it comes to refining and editing, but not so much the new implementation. And secondly, just pay attention to what comes up within your universe. You could be getting little hints and clues and foreshadows around what your Mercury retrograde story will have in store. And I just want to also highlight that Mercury will be moving retrograde in the signs Capricorn and Sagittarius. And really, other than that, what I would say this weekend is optimal for is in the morning, as I highlighted, we have Moon on Jupiter. So it's a great weekend to enjoy life. Go slow. And really with Mars square Saturn, like I said, being fierce on the no, okay, November. And with the Moon separating from Jupiter, taking time to enjoy your life. You might be tempted to run, oh, should I just go into work? All I am doing is reading on the couch, but that is equally something that you need to replenish yourself. There's a lot of power in doing nothing, in luxuriating, in resting. Like, we have seasons for a reason. Truly, we have essentially weather seasons, we have astrological seasons, and so honoring if you are feeling drained and burnt out, you might just be in a season of wintering where you need to withdraw energy, and that's okay. Sometimes we need that space in order to replenish our energy stores, and so don't feel guilty about doing nothing this weekend if you need that space to just essentially replenish. And then that evening, the moon is building to conjoin Uranus. It does so a little after midnight, so you might be feeling a little bit more restless or in the mood for a new adventure. It is Sagittarius season after all. On Sunday, the 26th, so this is the day before the full moon, and especially with the moon meeting up with Uranus in the beginning of the day, emotions can be feeling very volatile, a little bit up and down. You could be a little sensitive because the Taurus moon does sextile Neptune, it trines Pluto. Again, like I was saying with emotions, it's like they are regenerative. So if you are feeling something with the Taurus moon, tap into how can I genuinely care and keep for myself at this particular moment? How can I care for my landscape rather than piling on more and more because that's what life expects of me? How can I genuinely be an advocate for what it is that I need this weekend in order to replenish my energy stores, right? Understanding that with Sun and Mars squaring Saturn, there might be certain energies where I'm feeling defeated. And those are the times that it's extra important to go on that quest, go on that adventure, something that returns you back to a bigger picture meaning. That's when it's the most important, is in those times when you're feeling down on yourself. So generally ask yourself on Sunday morning, what do I need to return me back to center so that I can move into this new week and move into this full moon as the best version of myself? It is not selfish. I know a lot of times it can feel that way, especially when things are so intense at this moment. It's like, what does it matter if I read a book or take a bath in terms of what's happening within the bigger, essentially, lens of the planet? But again, we're just little Sims, right? We have to restore our energy bars. So ask yourself, what if my bars are low, right? How often have I been socializing? Do I need to refill that? Have I been eating delicious foods? Have I been engaging with my community? Have I been creating content? Have I been making art? Like, what do I need to bring myself back to center in order to regenerate my energy stores? Like, we charge our devices every single day. Like, we equally have to charge ourselves up. Whatever it is that you need, and yours might look different. Like, you guys are gonna roll your eyes, but keep in mind, I'm a Pisces, okay? But I call it my ocean meter. Like, I literally need to go to the ocean. Usually it starts to run red like every 2 weeks or so. I need to go and look at the ocean, and something about that just replenishes me. Yours might look different, but there are certain needs within you around, gosh, I haven't practiced my instrument in a while, or gosh, I haven't called this dear person within my life. Like, there are certain meters within you. There are certain aspects of your life to charge up for you to be able to show up fiercely and adventurously within your universe. And a lot of times these actions can feel so inconsequential in terms of the bigger landscape of what is happening. But if you are not essentially charging up your energy stores, you will not have the energy to show up, to protest, to donate, to raise awareness, whatever it is that you want to do to the big picture. it starts with you. And I know we hear that, but do you really hear that? Do you implement that? This is a week to implement that. And so when the moon enters Gemini at 4:40, you could be feeling a little scattered mentally. Again, building full moon in Gemini, all of the thoughts. You could be feeling kind of chaotic, okay? Sagittarius sun, Gemini moon, you could just be feeling all over the place. And again, this Gemini full moon, we'll of course chat about it next Magic Monday. See you there, same time, same place. But this Gemini full moon involves both Mars and Saturn. And so there can be vibes around feeling a little bit defeated, right? And with the energy of Gemini, observing what you are learning from this defeat. You know, we fell down. What did you learn from that as you pick back up so you can essentially keep running stronger? What did you learn from that failed talking stage or from that situationship that you're going to pull with you into the next essentially stage of your journey? We're in life school and some lessons are more pleasant than others, okay? And the Gemini full moon is going to encompass some of that energy. But if you are learning, you are living, okay? So make sure that you're paying attention to the lessons that you are learning at this point in time. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, alas, I persist. I know this is a simple one, a little unusual based on our usual mantras, but I love this essentially acknowledgement around, hey, there's stuff happening. There's challenges, there's obstacles, there's hindrances within my journey. There are things that are making me feel less than. There are things that are tinging at my sense of self-worth. There are things that are making me feel alone within this experience. There are things that are making me feel defeated by life. But alas, I persist. I keep going because that's who it is that I am, and that's who it is that I am evolving to be. With the energy of Sagittarius, it's not saying that suddenly everything is perfect, right? But the energy of Sagittarius is this essentially nudge from the cosmos to find the silver lining, to have hope, to generate faith, to follow your arrow around, hey, I'm moving through something that's very bleak and very dark, but I know this grants me a sense of meaning. I know going to the ocean makes me feel supported. I know listening to this particular podcast makes me feel sane and seen in this insane world. Again, it's being open to go on that quest to get closer to a personal sense of meaning. Alas, you persist. No matter how much this world tries to knock you down or tell you that you cannot, alas, you persist. This world can knock you down. It cannot keep you down. So my loves, if you made it to the end of the video, I am so sorry. I don't know what happened last week, but the last portion got cut off. I was wondering, I was like, nobody commented the little surf emoji or used surf within a sentence. I was so thrown off. I was like, did no one watch till the end? But I don't know why in uploading it just cut off the last 4 minutes, so I apologize about that. But for this video, if you did happen to make it to the end, go ahead and drop the little archer, like little arrow emoji, or use the word arrow within a sentence to let me know that you made it to the end. I am sending you all so much love. I know this week's astrology is tough, but so are you. And I'll see you next week for our Gemini full moon forecast. But until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.